In the turbulent dawn of the 1940s, as the world teetered on the brink of chaos, engineers, pilots, and dreamers gathered under the roof of North American aviation with a single mission: to create a bomber that could rewrite the rules of warfare. This was not a time for hesitation. The thunder of war had already begun echoing across Europe, and the United States knew it was only a matter of time before the storm reached its shores. Out of this urgency emerged a concept that would become immortal: the B-25 Mitchell. Named after Brigadier General Billy Mitchell, the father of American air power, the aircraft embodied the very spirit of his prophecy that the future of war would be decided not on the seas or on the ground, but in the skies. The design began humbly, as a proposal for a medium bomber that could bridge the gap between light tactical planes and heavy strategic bombers. Yet, the engineers dared to push beyond the boundaries of expectation. They envisioned a twin-engine aircraft with a rugged frame, enough range to strike deep behind enemy lines, and the precision to support ground troops when needed. Every rivet, every bolt was a testament to ingenuity under pressure. By the time the first prototype, dubbed NA-40, roared to life, it wasn't just another military project, it was a symbol of hope, a machine that would carry the fight to the enemy and remind the world that innovation could emerge even from fear. What made the B-25 so special was not just its firepower or speed, but the intelligence embedded in every line of its design. Unlike many bombers of its era, it wasn't overcomplicated, yet it offered incredible versatility. Its mid-mounted wings provided aerodynamic stability, and its twin Wrighter 2600 radial engines delivered more than 1,700 horsepower each, giving it the perfect blend of power and control. The secret of the Mitchell's success lay in its adaptability. It could be modified for dozens of missions, from level bombing to torpedo strikes, reconnaissance to ground attack. Its bomb bay could carry up to 3,000 pounds of explosives, while later models added an arsenal of forward-facing machine guns that turned the bomber into a gunship. Perhaps the most fascinating innovation was its ability to survive punishment. Pilots told stories of returning to base with wings shredded by flak or engines sputtering from bullet holes, yet still landing safely. Inside, the crew of 5 to 6 men shared a tight, noisy space filled with vibration and the constant hum of the engines. Communication was done through headsets over the deafening roar of the propellers, and every mission tested both the machine's endurance and the men's courage. Unlike the larger B-17 Flying Fortress, the B-25 relied not on heavy armor but on speed, maneuverability, and the cunning of its pilots. It was a bomber that demanded respect, and those who flew it came to love it not as a tool, but as a living companion, a steel guardian that carried them through hell and back. The defining moment of the B-25's legacy came on April 18, 1942, a day that would change the psychology of World War II forever. In the months following the attack on Pearl Harbor, America needed a victory, a symbolic strike that could prove Japan was not invincible. Under the command of Lieutenant Colonel James "Jimmy" Doolittle, a daring plan was conceived, to launch 16 B-25 bombers from the deck of the aircraft carrier USS Hornet and bomb Tokyo itself. The idea was almost insane. The B-25 had never been designed for carrier operations. Its takeoff distance far exceeded what any carrier could offer. But through relentless training and engineering adjustments, including stripped-down weight and carefully measured fuel loads, the mission was declared possible. On that cold April morning, with waves crashing against the steel hull of the Hornet, the crews climbed into their aircraft, aware that they likely wouldn't have enough fuel to return. One by one, the bombers rumbled down the deck, lifting into the misty sky a sight that would live forever in military history. The raid caused limited physical damage, but its psychological effect was profound. Japan's confidence was shaken, forcing them to recall fighter squadrons to defend the home islands. More importantly, the raid electrified American morale, transforming despair into determination. For Doolittle and his men, most of whom crash-landed in China or were captured, it was a mission of sacrifice, but also one of unbreakable courage. The B-25 had proven it could do the impossible. It could strike from the sea, cross vast distances, and carry the weight of a nation's hope on its wings. After the Doolittle Raid, the B-25 Mitchell became a global workhorse, fighting in nearly every theater of World War II. In the Pacific, it became the terror of Japanese shipping lanes, skimming waves to attack convoys with bombs and machine gun fire. Over North Africa and Italy, it provided close air support, blasting enemy positions to clear the way for Allied ground forces. Its ability to operate from rough airstrips and improvised runways gave it a unique advantage. The B-25 didn't need perfect conditions to fly, it thrived in chaos. Modified variants like the B-25H and B-25J turned into devastating gun platforms, some carrying a 75mm cannon, one of the largest ever mounted on an aircraft, capable of tearing through enemy ships and fortifications. Crews would describe the experience of firing it as both thrilling and terrifying, the recoil shaking the entire airframe. Yet, the plane endured. Its robust construction, simple maintenance, and versatile armament made it a favorite among air forces from the US to the Soviet Union. The Mitchell was not glamorous like the B-17 nor sleek like the British Mosquito, but it earned respect the hard way through performance, consistency, and survival. In jungles, deserts, and snow-covered fields, it carried bombs, men, and messages of defiance to every corner of the war. The skies may have been filled with smoke and death, but to those who looked up and saw the twin engines of a B-25 approaching, there was always a sense that victory was within reach. In comparing the B-25 to its contemporaries, its brilliance becomes even more apparent. The British Mosquito was faster but fragile, the German Heinkel He-111 had longer range but weaker defenses, the American B-26 Marauder was faster but notoriously difficult to handle, earning the nickname Widowmaker. The B-25 struck the perfect balance, agile enough to avoid interception, durable enough to survive it, and flexible enough to fulfill multiple roles. This adaptability was no accident, it was born from North American aviation's philosophy of modular design. Engineers envisioned an aircraft that could evolve with the war, and that foresight paid off. The B-25's influence stretched beyond the conflict, its design principles informed post-war bombers and even early jet aircraft. It proved that a bomber didn't need to be the biggest to be effective, it needed to be dependable. In total, nearly 10,000 units were built, serving in air forces across the world, from Australia to China. It became a global symbol of Allied engineering, a machine that united nations through the shared dream of liberation. To fly a B-25 was to command not just an aircraft, but a legacy of innovation and unity forged in the fires of war. Behind the metal and engines were the men whose stories defined the B-25's true greatness. Pilots, bombardiers, and gunners formed tight-knit crews who learned to trust each other completely. Each mission demanded teamwork under unrelenting danger. Flak bursts shredded the skies, enemy fighters circled like vultures, and every second demanded precision and calm. Pilots often described the surreal beauty of sunrise over enemy territory, a brief moment of peace before chaos. Many never returned, their aircraft lost to the endless expanse of ocean or consumed in flames. Yet even in tragedy, their bravery inspired generations. Engineers back home worked tirelessly to refine the Mitchell, studying damaged planes and learning from every scar. Their innovation was fueled not by profit, but by the desire to protect the men they'd never meet, proof that even in war, humanity can shine through machinery. And when those planes returned from battle, battered and smoking, they were greeted with reverence. Each surviving B-25 carried more than just its crew, it carried the souls of those who didn't make it back, a silent tribute written in oil and gunpowder. As the guns of World War II fell silent, the B-25 refused to fade into history. It served long after the war ended, flying for decades in training, reconnaissance, and civilian roles. It became a beloved aircraft in airshows, a roaring reminder of courage and craftsmanship. More than 80 years later, the B-25 remains a living symbol of the power of human ingenuity under pressure. Its legacy endures not just in museums or films like Catch-22, but in the principles it embodied: versatility, resilience, and courage. The Mitchell taught the world that perfection in design isn't about excess, It's about balance. It wasn't the biggest, the fastest, or the most glamorous, but it was the right aircraft at the right time, flown by the right people. In that sense, the B-25 Mitchell is not merely a machine of war, it's a monument to the spirit of those who believed in the impossible. So as its engines still rumble across modern skies, one can't help but wonder, will we ever see another aircraft that captures the same courage, ingenuity, and sheer audacity of the B-25 Mitchell? Or has that kind of heroism become a relic of a world that dared to dream higher than fear itself?